Hey, it's Dusty again, uh, coming at you live from my living room. Um, if you happen to hear muttering in the background, it might be our daughter. She is in her room looking for stuff on Tumblr. She's 18. She lives with us. She's pretty cool. Alright, so this video is going to be basically about our system setup. Um, this is specific to our system, Collective Dreamscapes. We have a very large system. We haven't met a whole lot of people with a system as large as ours, which kind of makes us a little nervous because people tend to kind of look at us a little weird when they find out how big our system is. But we have, of those that we actually know, have names for, locations for, and at least somebody has spoken to them at least once or twice or seen them once or twice, over 380 people. And we're fairly certain that's not everybody. Like, for existence, not for existence, for example, there you go. For example, me, Dusty. I've only been here since early this year. Before early this year, I didn't even exist. Our system seems to be one of those that, even long past living in the traumatic situation, we will still, our system will still create people if it thinks we need it. And we have a theory on that, but that's for another time. We're talking about system setup. The main room that we deal with is the front room. It started off way back when as just this big huge room that's like kind of like right behind our eyes, and it's kind of like a big rec room with a couple of couches and beanbag chairs and pillows and blankets, and somebody installed a disco ball. Yes, they seriously did. Started off as just the room. It has since grown. We've added on to it. We call it the front room complex now, or the front room annex, because we had to add a lot more rooms because a lot more people were staying around the front, and it was getting really confusing to have like 30 people crammed in one room all at one time. So we built there's one main door that leads out of the front room, and there's hallways that lead to different rooms. The Shea kids tend to stay in the front room complex. So the burners tend to stay in the front room complex. Some random teens and stuff like that. They have a game room that has pretty much every game system we've ever owned and every game we've ever owned, and probably some that we've never owned in it. So every now and then we can hear noises from the teams hanging out in the game room, playing Mortal Kombat or Soul Calibur or Mario or something. The front room complex is one of the only places where anybody from anywhere in the system can be. Like the Realms. The Realms Collective is one of the main sections of our system. And people from the Realms, some of them can go to other areas, but most of them can't. But all of them can come to the front room. Same with the Shadowlands. The Shadowlands, some people can go to certain areas, most of them can't, but all of them have access to the front room. Now, this is where it gets fun. The first collective that our system was aware of was the Realms Collective. It's it's like your everyday world. It's it's pretty normal. It's pretty large. There's the settlement, which is where most of the people from the realms live, and it's there's the front room complex is on a hill, and the settlement's down when you go down the hill. There's a settlement, and then there's a big wall around the settlement. There's also the kids' castle, which is technically part of the settlement, but it's kind of separate. And most of the kids stay in the kids' castle, and there are a few adults and teens that stay there to keep an eye on them, make sure they're okay and everything. Then there's, outside the wall, there's this huge meadow with a really big lake and a river. River leads to the valley. We call it the Valley of the Horse or Equine Valley. That's where the Circle, that's one of our subgroups, that's where they stay. There's the mountain caves, and there's there's another area, and I can't remember the name of it. I am failing epically already. We'll probably have to do a separate video for each collective to try and explain it. The second collective that we became aware of was the Shadowlands Collective. Their world is a lot darker, a lot more primal, and the majority of them existed to deal with the ritual abuse that we were subjected to. It's pretty intense. A lot of them they're more cooperative now than they used to be. They used to really resent being stuck with the rest of us and not being able to do the things that they usually or used to do. And some of them aren't very nice. Some of them are very scary. But sometimes they can also be helpful. And they are by far the best judge of characters of anybody in our system. If they have an opinion on someone we meet, we usually listen to them because they're usually right. We don't know why, but there it is. The next area that we learned about, or at least know about, is the forest. Not many of us really know about. We know some of who lives in the forest, but we don't know how big it is, and we don't know everyone who lives there, and we don't really know much about it. We just know that those who do live there are really different from the rest of us. So, if one of them were to front, even for 5 minutes, it would take us an hour to recover from it. It's happened before, and it's really bizarre. The darkness is relatively new to us, known to us. Okay, that's not entirely accurate. Whenever I say new, it's not like it was just created. It's like it was there. We just weren't aware of it, and then they decided that we needed to know that they were there, and so they did. They pretty much showed up a couple of years ago. I'm thinking. Hold on, I'm actually checking a web page so that I make sure that I'm not lying when I say this. I think it was 2011 when the darkness first showed up. And from what we can, oh, I'm sorry, 2010, the Darkness Collective was first. We first became aware of them in June of 2010, and yeah, they're scary in a different way than the Shadowlands. They didn't deal with ritual stuff, but they dealt with some pretty serious crap. And there's some seriously scary people there. And of all the systems, the darkness we tend to be the most wary of because they're all about breaking rules and stuff like that. And it's like they have their own mission or something. Anyway, moving on. We have an area called the dungeon. Now, I know that sounds really bad, but there are certain people in our system that are just not, it's not safe to let them wander freely. For they're either a danger to themselves or to the system as a whole. One of the ones who stays in the dungeon, her name is Wildchild. We kind of consider her an emotional barometer. She doesn't talk, and she has to stay in a padded room, and occasionally she has had to be put in a straitjacket because she has been known to claw at her face and her skin and will do damage to herself. Generally, she sits in the corner, but when the system starts to get unstable and there are really strong emotions going around, those of us in the front room can kind of hear her screams echoing from the dungeon, and that's generally for us a sign that, oh crap, something's going on. We need to find out what's going on and take care of it, because if we can hear Wildchild screaming, then something's not right. Okay. Yes. As of this year, around February or March, I think. I'm not sure on the month, but it was earlier this year. Our system apparently decided that everybody who had been fronting or how they had been running things up till now had been failing and not working, and as a result created an entire new section called the Crystal Horizons. And most of us who have been fronting the last 6 months or so are from the Crystal Horizons. Derek and Linnea were two of us who started fronting off earlier in the year, and Linnea is still around, Derek's still around. It's not like they've just vanished or anything. It's just we tend to rotate fronters. Like last week was mostly random. And this week it's mostly me. And, you know, next week it might be random, or it might be random and Linnea. You know, it just really kind of depends. Derek formulated a theory on why he thinks the crystal horizons exists and why we came into being. And once again, I think that we'll have to probably do a different video for each system, because, I mean, for each collective, because each collective is further broken down into groups, clans, crews, whatever they want to call themselves, and that would be too much info all at once, I think. So, you know, when we decide to do a video for Crystal Horizons, we'll talk about Derek's theory about why he thinks we're here. The last section of our system has only become known to us in the last month and a half, and it is by far the scariest place that most of us have encountered. Not so much because there are people there that are scary, but it's the area of our system that's like, it's like the collective that's at the very center of our system, and we just call it Shattered Dreamscapes. Shattered Dreamscapes is a name that we've used online a lot, because we've just related to the phrase a lot. We did not realize that we literally had a Shattered Dreamscapes in our system, but we do. So yeah, that's the different areas, and each collective has its own geographical thing. You know, we're hoping that as we do these videos, we can get people from different collectives to come front and talk about, you know, their area and stuff like that, and it not just be like me and random alone. And I mean, we already know that some of us want to do a video for the Brits just because, yeah, just because. So I think that's enough for now. Basic system set up for collective dreamscapes, broken down into different collectives, and we'll go more into that another time. And I'm going to say bye, because I feel awkward now. Alright, so this is Dusty signing off. Peace out, bitches.